Hello and welcome. Today is going to be a bit of a different type of video to what I usually post. I am going to be visiting Chillingham Castle, one of the most haunted locations in northern England, with my sister and her partner and doing a ghost tour this evening. I'm super excited for it. I've always wanted to visit Chillingham Castle, never had the opportunity to do so until now. I was planning to take Bertie on this trip, but unfortunately in the instructions that you get when you book this ghost tour, they do say that the main castle is closed to tourists during the winter season, so we'll be the only ones there on ghost tours. Pretty crazy, slightly terrifying. Part of the castle is open as a hotel, so there will be probably a few rooms lit up on one side, but the part of the castle that I will be going on a tour around will be in complete darkness. Will not have had any kind of visitors in months since it was open. I think it's open until like summer season, autumn season, completely closed through winter. It is currently February, so there hasn't been visitors in a while. So if we're going to get ghostly action, it's going to be now when the ghosts are pretty bored, is my thought. But yeah, unfortunately I can't take Bertie on this trip. I was completely planning to take him, but the instructions that they give you is that to access the castle, since it is closed during winter, you can't access it from the main entrance. You have to take the round the side and enter through the back, which I think takes you to like the courtyard part of the castle. I'm sure it's going to be very cool, but unfortunately that path is extremely narrow. It's like a farmer's field type thing, and it is very steep, and they did say on the instructions that you have to pass through a ford. Now if it rains, I would be in very deep trouble with Bertie because there is no way I'd want to take him through anything that was flooded. Seems pretty dangerous, to be honest. I just wouldn't want to do it. It has been raining today so far, so a little bit scary. I don't think I'd risk it. So instead, I'm going with my sister and her partner in her car. A little bit different. It's going to feel very strange not being the driver, I have to say that. And very strange going without Bertie, as it's been months since I've been on a trip without Bertie. It's going to be really weird. Not sure I'm ready for that, but we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it'll be super exciting. As I'm not in Bertie, I will be staying in a B&B. I plan to stay at Alnwick, which I absolutely adore. Have not been to Alnwick in years, but went a lot as a child. Alnwick is a cute little place to visit. Would highly recommend anyone, particularly Harry Potter fans, definitely visit Alnwick Castle. I loved going there when I was younger. They had like wizard training courses that they would do with children in like the courtyard and the gardens, where they handed out broomsticks and you would practice and do the training that they did in the movie. It was very cool. I hope they still do that, because that is epic experience for a child. Just to give a bit of background on Chillingham Castle before we go into this trip, it is a 12th century castle built in Northumberland in northern England. It has been a place where a lot of royal family members have visited over the years. King James VI of Scotland visited there a long time ago and stayed overnight, which I'm pretty sure I'll be able to see where he stayed. Very cool, very excited for that. Obviously being a castle, as with many other castles in the UK, it was home to a lot of battles and feuds. It was mainly known for being a location where a lot of Northumberland's border feuds happened, so I assume there's a lot of history with that, and I'm sure I'll get to know in the tour, so I will be reporting back on everything that I hear, that I see. I don't think I can record inside the castle. I will try and get a few shots from the outside before I go in, and obviously report back on everything I see. So yeah, let's hope we see something, let's hope it doesn't follow me home, and I will report back on that. That's part of the old castle. I don't know. It looks like a stone keep. What a place to drive through. Oh, it's a two-way road.
Seriously?
Jeepers!
Oh my
Wow.
god.
He had to stop. Holy moly. That is crazy.
There's the fleecing. Not looking for a fleecing.
It's a horse. Look at the doggies.
Eating a heart.
Oh.
That is very cute. Cute dog. That is a stone wall.
Then up this again.
Bond Gate Tower. Interesting.
Hey, Yoshi,
And then
where's
you
the
take
dog's
a-
face?
Horse. It's quite scary though if you're just walking along at night time.
Wonder how many. Yeah, I wonder how many people pet it.
No, this is like proper little town vibes. That baffles me. Just that. I'd hate to get a birdie through there. I don't even know if I would.
Remember not to drink there.
Yeah, that's gonna be so tricky. Look
St. Michael's.
at the dragon.
One of the principal public water supplies in Anna. The
What?
present structure was erected in 1765 to replace a much earlier one.
Yeah. So apparently this entire stretch of road down here is all parking. That is free for about 2 hours. I don't know if the handbrake would hold most of this stretch of road on Birdie, so I wouldn't risk it, but other people might want to. It's a chocolate spot! Sign me up. These streets are so tilted. You see the angle. It's actually quite steep. It's more so than on camera.
Look at the gallery.
What the heck?
Stormtrooper.
Something suspicious. That is a stormtrooper. That's really interesting though.
That's really cool. I want to have a look at it.
That's it.
We're going. Go, go, go. Oh no. What?
That's hilarious.
The dog is really mad. He's so angry.
The face. Very Scottish. Very Scottish.
I think this one looks.
She's recording the spooky road.
The spooky road. The road to Chillingham Castle. Where we get chills. They multiply.
The road that
Oh
is-
god.
I wonder if anyone's ever driven right out there and up in the farm. Yeah.
That seems pretty likely.
Probably. That's where we're going. We're going to beat one of the ghosts.
Dark.
If we ever make it.
Yeah.
We have not come across a single person, which is slightly concerning.
Yeah.
This
And
is
they
the
never
end of the road. Well, we are here.
Let's see what mine says.
It's pretty spooky. I'll be honest. I see absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But I hear the whistles of birds and stuff. Crazy. Let's go. I don't think I can get it. Here it is. Here we go. Great. Now this is a real castle. Oh, carefully descending the stairs. Okay, so at this point we'd officially entered the castle. The ghost tour was about to begin. I already knew that you weren't allowed to record inside, so I started taking pictures because you're allowed to take as many pictures as you want through the course of the ghost tours. This was the room we started in. It was really magnificent, very grand. The fire was crackling away in the background, very atmospheric. So we started the tour from here. This is actually a tea room in summer. Very cool. If people visit, definitely go check it out. First part of the tour involved going out into the surrounding woods around Chillingham Castle. I was admiring how many snowdrops there were. It was amazing. But obviously it got a lot darker as they were telling the stories, particularly of the witch trials. This tree is actually one of the last hanging trees. It was quite scary to hear about, I'll be honest. There was a lot of tales of shadows in the woods, and if you look out, sometimes you'll see them. Sometimes you'll see the monks that used to roam on the grounds. Bit scary, but it was very cool, very atmospheric. It was a good way to start the tour, so we moved on to the next area, back towards the castle itself, and this is just a photo of like the track towards one of the buildings. They usually see a woman crossing the road, a ghostly figure. So we headed back inside the castle, and this was the first room we went into. It's known as the Spanish Witch's Room. And for people who know Chillingham Castle, they will know of the Spanish Witch. I myself knew of the Spanish Witch. I have watched ghost hunting videos, YouTubers who go around exploring places, and everyone knows of the Spanish Witch. The story goes that she was originally brought into the castle itself to exorcise the castle of ghosts. And when she failed at that, the king of the time said, "We're not going to pay you." But being a Spanish witch, she went, "Well, if you don't pay me, I'm going to stay." So she did that. He still never paid her. She lived there for years and eventually died in the castle. But before she died, she said she would curse the castle and that everything that was inside the castle belonged to her. And if anyone stole anything that was hers, she would curse them. And strangely enough, people test this out when they go on ghost tours or just visit the castle itself. I myself would not do that. It seems quite disrespectful, to be honest. People steal things from inside the castle. It could just be small objects, but obviously it's a castle that you can walk around. It's not cordoned off areas you're allowed to explore, and it just seems strange that people would steal stuff, because if you steal stuff, they're gonna obviously cordon things off, and it's not going to be as cool as it is now. So I would highly recommend people not do that. But yeah, apparently people test it to see if they get cursed, and a lot of people have returned apology letters with the items that they stole. The tour guide himself said that he knows for a fact that in the office they have hundreds of letters from people from around the world who have tested this out and sent apology letters wishing the curse to be gone. It clearly shows that something happens. I'm not going to test it, but very scary, and I would not test a Spanish witch. Joining onto the Spanish Witch's Room was the dungeon. It was so small, it was crazy, like I don't even think you can see from the pictures. I had to squeeze through this gap. Like, I'm not a particularly big person, I had to squeeze in there. They said that a lot of people had to be in this dungeon at one point. I couldn't see there being more than like 6 people, and at that you wouldn't be able to move around. I mean, this picture of me stood in there, you could probably see, you could maybe get 3 people side by side, but you would be squished in. That grate that you could see on one of the photos earlier was where the bones would be put down. They would shove people down there. So yeah, it's quite horrific. But expected of castles of the time, I guess. So moving on from this area, they took us through a series of rooms. I don't know why there were paintings on the wall, but it was so cool. It reminded me of cave art. Very cool. I appreciated it. So yeah, it was really random. But apparently the owner of the castle, Sir Humphrey, really likes to collect things. So I don't know if this is just something that's been added to the castle at a later date. Maybe so. I don't know. But yeah, we moved on into the next room, which this sign made me laugh so much. Don't join the ghosts, mind your step. It speaks for itself. It cracked me up. Probably shouldn't have, because the room we were heading into was the torture chamber. It was the room where the on-site torturer used to torture people from children to adults. Apparently he wasn't picky, which is pretty scary. You can probably see in the middle of the room is the Iron Maiden, and this was apparently the English version of the Iron Maiden. Scotland had its own different type. Inside of the Iron Maiden was lots of spikes, so when they closed it, it obviously impaled you in multiple places. Kind of expected to kill you on sight with that one. It's pretty horrific, but apparently the Scottish version was a lot worse. I won't go into detail on that, but yeah, apparently it was a lot worse. So we headed out into the rainy night at Chillingham Castle. Really added effect, I have to say, with the raindrops coming down. It was so cool. So we headed into one of the original towers without torchlight. As you can see, I've got my little torch on me. I'm so glad it was a really good torch, to be honest, because I wouldn't have been able to see anything otherwise. There were people using their phone torches, and it just was not enough. So yeah, take your own torch if you do a ghost tour. So this was Edward I's room. It's known to be quite haunted. They think that a few people were killed in this room. I mean, it was a castle. I assume it happened in quite a lot of the rooms in this castle itself. So yeah, we stayed in this room. We turned on the lights so that we could get some cool shots. I was constantly looking up towards this balcony area that you could clearly walk around. I don't know how you got to it, but you could clearly walk around it. And I was fully expecting to see something there. I don't know why. It gave the vibes of there's definitely a ghost up there watching you, but I didn't see anything. We did spend some time in this room where it was pitch black, and he asked questions, asked for certain people, named them, and asked them to come forth. There was only one occasion where the door creaked open, which seems like not so much. I was like, like it could have done more, but yeah, it was interesting. And going on from this room, we headed back downstairs. This was the Great Hall. So apparently, this hall has been used in a lot of movies, which you can understand why. Medieval times in medieval movies. It would fit very well. Back from when the castle was used for all the horrible things it was used for. And they get a lot of ghostly activity in here. We didn't really spend that much time in here, so I didn't really get to experience anything. But I have to say, I admire the chandeliers. I mean, they are works of art. It was really cool. So after this room, we moved on to the chapel, which was also in one of the original towers. It was a really small room, but apparently the lady of the castle at the time used to go in there and just like do her little crafts and stuff. I don't know whether it was knitting that she did or what, but yeah, apparently she used to sit on one of the pews and just do her own little thing. So after we'd been in the chapel, that was pretty much the entirety of the ghost tour. We'd seen most of the places of the castle. There's some that's off limits. The most haunted room in the castle is off limits as like the private quarters of Sir Humphrey himself. Through this arched doorway, you can clearly see the chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. That is the room we started in. So from here, we just headed back down, and that was where we ended our tour. I can safely report that after visiting Chillingham Castle for the ghost tour, I did not experience anything. There was one creak of a door through the entire night, which was timely because the ghost tour guide did ask for a certain name to give us a sign. I will admit that. Nothing else happened, but overall it was a really good experience. For my first ever ghost tour, it was really cool. I enjoyed it. The tour guide was very knowledgeable and overall had a great time learning about the history of such a medieval castle. Would highly recommend it. I will probably be back to Chillingham Castle at some point in the future. I don't know when. Don't think I'm brave enough to do the ghost hunt. I will say that. But yeah, would highly recommend Chillingham Castle. I'm sure it's just as cool during the day as well. So definitely when they reopen in like Easter time, they're open from Easter through to autumn time. I would definitely advise people to visit. It's super cool. And yeah, it's really historic as well. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, definitely go for it. Other than that, that is probably it for today. So I am off to bed. Tomorrow I will be visiting Morpeth on the way home, just having a look through a nice little market town, perusing the shops. So I will see you then. Good night. Bye. I don't even know if you can see that, the pointiness of the tail. I don't know whether it is pointing north. It's weird. Why does it look like that? Now, this handy little leaflet here was given to me by the owner of the B&B. It was for Barter Books, which is supposedly one of the largest second-hand bookstores in Britain. Very cool fact. The owner recommended that anyone who comes to Alnwick check it out. So obviously I had to go check it out for myself and see just how many books there were. The gimbal is working its magic right now. Wow, this looks cool. There's so many lights inside.
I know, yeah.
Oh, could have brought Simba. Let's head in. Ooh. Oh, they have a fire. It's so fancy. This is nice. Wow. Holy moly. Oh my gosh. And a dog. So much stuff. Heaven. Wow. A book lover's heaven. Oh, and they've even got like a reading nook here. Good morning, we're now in Morpeth. I am parked in Matheson's Gardens car park in Morpeth. It is free, it's down by the river. There's a massive children's park straight opposite, and we're going to go explore. It's just a little market town, should be nice, exploring all the little shops. Let's see. Eagles are taking over. Half ducks, half seagull. They're blending in. Thus comes to an end my nice little trip, my weekend trip away without Bertie. It's been very strange not being the driver and not having Bertie with me. I feel like I've grown used to it. But yeah, it's been a nice little experience. Morpeth is definitely a nice little place to stop off at. We've probably spent an hour here just having a look around. There's a lot of charity shops, nice little shops that you can just kind of peruse in. Not a lot. I was quite surprised, I thought it would be a bit bigger, but it's a nice little market town and I would recommend people to stop off if you're passing by in Northumberland. It's definitely a nice little location to stop off at, and probably a lot more to do on market days, so definitely have a look, Google when the market days are and maybe choose that day to visit Morpeth. But yeah, this comes to an end, my little weekend trip. I will see you again next time. Bye!